Contentment says, today I can be joyful with what I have. Wanting more doesn't need to interrupt that. And I hope that next week or next year, whatever it is, we can add these additional skills and I'm practicing new stuff, but it doesn't take away from the joy that you can have today because today is good enough.
Welcome to Everyday Homesteading, the show for busy families who want more self-sufficiency without burning out. I'm Josh.
And I'm Carolyn from Homesteading Family. And in every episode, we share time-tested knowledge on topics from growing and preserving your food to raising livestock to herbal medicine and anything homesteading in between.
Let's jump in.
It's really easy to be content and to feel gratitude when things are like kind of humming along, they're going your way, everything is smooth. But when things start to get rocky, that's where you actually learn what true contentment is. And believe it or not, for Josh and I, not everything has always gone super smoothly. We don't always have stories where everything was a success. In fact, we've had whole years where things feel very upside down, feel like they're not working, feel like everything's falling apart. And then we've had years where just like individual things aren't working for us. And these are some of the moments where we've had to lean into gratitude and contentment.
Well, and I think there are moments, even when in the big picture, everything's going pretty well, that we have our struggles. We have our, other circumstantial things that aren't necessarily about the homesteading year or the work, or we have just our own emotions. And it's easy to step out of contentment, to step out of gratitude and thankfulness. Even when we really truly have a lot to be thankful for and things are going well. I think that's just our human nature.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
So, we're going to talk a little bit today here as we're approaching Thanksgiving about what it looks like to cultivate contentment, even when you don't necessarily feel it in the moment.
Yeah. Or, sometimes we all want more. Right? Like, especially as homesteaders,
I think
we want more. We want more skills. We want to, we wish we had more of a garden or more harvest or more, all these things. And that's part of, you guys, us learning homesteading is we're kind of striving for something different and a little bit more. And so how do we balance contentment with this idea of pushing into new territory and learning new skills and wanting to expand what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So
there
you go. So we're going to dive into that in just a minute. But first, we get a little chit chat. Hey.
Yeah. Howdy. How's it going?
Good. It's winding down. And I'm excited about that. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it's winding down, but the garden's done. It's closed out. We're done for the year. It's
a few Brussels sprouts to harvest, right?
So we have a few things we're eating,
still
but
pulling a little bit out of it, which is great, being it's late November.
It's amazing, but the work part of it, like we just walk out there and go harvest a little bit. But as far as like the work or the major harvest days,
I'd feel more gratitude if we could just always go out and just harvest.
You're not the one who does all the preserving. What are you talking about?
Oh, well. We can talk about all the outside work in the snow and rain, too.
There's
if we
that,
want.
too. We're settling all that down, and that feels really good. We have a big butcher day here coming up right now. Right when you guys are watching this, we are out there working through five
big hogs.
5 big hogs, which means that there's an amazing sausage making day on the other side of this weekend somewhere. Bacon curing, maybe some hams.
We're going to do some more hams. We're actually going to hang some more salt cured hams this year.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
And a lot of lard rendering. We've already done all the leaf lard from the first pigs we butchered. Now we have some more pigs, so we'll have to do another round of leaf lard.
That's 8 total if you're keeping track. We've done 8 pigs this year. It's the most we've ever done. It's a little insane.
Yeah.
But we had a lard deficiency last year.
Oh, a lard deficiency. That's a technical homesteading term.
There was definitely a lack of gratitude for the lard. for
the lack of lard. Yeah. So we made up for it in kind of a big way this year, and we are not going to have a lard deficiency in our house or any of our adult children's house probably this year. We'll cover the bases really well. So aside from those big projects, I feel like we're starting to switch into that kind of winter, a little more rhythmic, a little more home-centered, where, every day is filled with homeschooling right now. It definitely feels like all of the things come in a little tighter, and they're a little more centered around the wood cook stove or the kitchen, or some of the warm places. So I've actually been talking a lot in the membership lately about intentional winters and intentionally slowing down, because you and I have this kind of running joke that this winter when it's so quiet, we'll rest, right? This long, dark, quiet winter when we're going to get all rested and we're going to get all of our planning done and we're going to read all the books and knit all the things. And somehow that has never materialized. Like, we get towards spring.
Not to our expectations. I think there's an expectation alignment that's not quite.
Well, there may be that too, but we get to spring and it's like, wow, somehow we don't feel rested yet. Like, are we ready to go through the spring push? And I realized that it's something you have to be really intentional about. You have to actually make rest happen. And so, anyways, I'm thinking about ways that I can slow certain things down. We're changing the schedule a little bit. Going to sleep in a half hour longer every morning.
Go to bed a half an hour earlier every night.
Oh, we didn't discuss this together.
I need more sleep than she does, and so there's always a little bit of a sorting that out.
Trying to figure out how to get sleep, which end of the day to get sleep on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's where I am looking forward to that long, quiet, peaceful, restful winter that never seems to happen, and trying to figure out how to make it happen.
It's a good goal to strive for.
Yeah, every year we strive for it. We'll keep striving. What about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, well, over the years kind of gravitated, and this year maybe defining it a little more, that we really want to make the shift by Thanksgiving. So animals are in, the chore shift is done, and all those pieces happen. So with Thanksgiving, there's kind of that celebration of the year, that harvest celebration idea, but also that's a good marker to pivot into these things. And in some intentionality, like you're talking about, keep finding ways to intentionally slow down and not life just carry you away like it does. So yeah, we're working on getting the animals in. Yeah, and of course, getting the rest of the hogs
butchered. So give a little context to that in case people haven't been following along.
Yeah, so for us here in North Idaho, while we've survived in past years without a barn, when we bought this property, it got a barn, we've been adding on to it, and the goal was to get all the animals into the barn during winter. And what that does is it creates efficiency in chore time, solves a whole lot of problems, and also deals with the muck and everything well. So we've got a whole system out there. That's kind of another conversation, but the goal is to get everybody into the barn for the winter. And that takes our morning chore time from an hour to like half the people in only half an hour.
Yeah.
Because you can go in and just everything's super efficient. So that's part of the culmination of wrapping up outside. And we've still got the dairy cow out, the sheep out, the geese, the beef cows. And here, in these next few days, we'll just be bringing everybody in and get them into the barn. Even if the weather, like I'm tempted, like, well, I want to leave them out. We don't have any snow yet. But kind of moving towards that intentionality. It's like, no, let's just get them here. We've planned, we order extra hay. Let's get them here and get into that new rhythm. So that's really the big thing, is just kind of once the hogs go, that clears out space in the barn. There's a little tidying to do, and we can start bringing everybody in and solidify that rhythm for the winter.
Yeah.
And that's really the big thing at the moment for us on the homestead, is just getting ready to bring that all together, make that shift.
Bring it. Same thing for you. Like, we're both doing this with our hand, like bringing our hands together. Like it all kind of starts centering around smaller areas of the homestead. Another thing that is happening right now is we're taking the milk cow from twice a day milking down to once a day milking. So we're slowing down the milk production, going towards, just enough milk in the house to do some yogurt, to keep our latte cups filled. And some milk for the kids, but not so much cheese making or butter making or some of these bigger projects.
Just kind of status quo.
Just kind of slowing it all down.
Yeah, I gotta say that as much as we joke about it not slowing down, it's more, I think, our expectations and then what is slowing down. Because a lot of things do slow down.
Yeah.
The animals on the outside are all in one place. So the feeding slows down. There's good systems there. You're not back and forth to the garden. So there are elements that do that we've got good systems for, that we do slow down. I think it's other parts that come in and other realities.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all the homeschooling activities
Yeah,
that
because that
kick
ramps
off,
up.
because that
Right?
ramps up for the
Yeah.
winter, because everybody else around here has animals and
Yeah.
summer projects and things too. And so as soon as winter kicks in, all of a sudden it's like, oh, let's do all the lessons, all the, social gathering sort of things that happen in the
Yep.
winter. And of course you have holidays and all of that. And so, continuing to look at how to
Yeah.
bring those things down to where they need to be.
Well, and I think some of that's going to be what we lean in today, and contentment, even in the midst of whatever is happening. Because, I know for me, one of the big things is snow plowing starts. I think, oh, I'm just about to get a break. 2 foot of snow never comes at a convenient time. Right? And
No, it's usually right in the middle of some other thing
and
that's going on. And
so then
yeah.
there becomes this intensity, this push. Now it's not like, oh, well, I'll deal with it, when I feel like dealing with it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's all good ground for this idea of contentment, even when, say, we know we're going to step into winter and we're going to face things that are going to challenge that idea.
Absolutely.
But before we do that, we need to say thank you to our sponsors today for
Yeah.
making this episode possible.
Yeah, today our sponsor is ForJars. So if you preserve food, or even if you just do things in the kitchen, you're going to want to check out ForJars. They have a great line of all sorts of preserving tools, all sorts of just different kitchen tools that you might need. I know for me, something I reach for from them all the time is their vacuum sealers. They have little hand vacuum sealers that I absolutely love. But
Like
they
is that for
have,
jars? Is that the one you use for the jars?
yeah,
Vacuuming out the jars, not for
yes.
the bag vacuum sealer.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, to actually seal the jars. Of course, they have a line of jars. They've got lids. They've got all sorts of canning tools, but they have a lot of other tools that they're creating right now too, just with their eyes on homesteaders, because they're actually, a family business who is focused on homesteading. And so, yeah.
Good. And they are offering you guys 10% off your order for Homesteading Family listeners with the code HomesteadingFamily10 for 10% off. And we will make sure and drop you a link in the notes for that.
We have our little notes here to keep us on track in case we get off.
Yeah, well, we're still getting used to the new flow too.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you guys think? You guys, we've been getting a lot of really positive feedback about the new setup and the new, podcast name. Obviously, it's still you and me and some guests and all of that.
I think it's kind of funny that we started here, but most of the years of the pantry chat were not in the pantry chat. And now that we changed the name, we came back to the pantry.
We came back to the pantry.
Which is great. I love being in here. It's a very encouraging spot to see. I mean, you guys are only seeing one wall and there's 3 big walls here. Yeah, so anyways, it's fun.
Yeah, this is very fun.
Yep.
So
yeah. It is easy to sit right here and feel contentment in this moment.
Oh, it is. I mean, the jars, the shelves are quite full with home-raised, home-preserved food.
Yeah.
And that feels really good. And we're sitting here. We're not in the kitchen actually working on them.
But
we're out in the garden gardening them.
Well, but it's not always easy to carry that feeling, right? It's one thing and when you can sit and take it all in, but there's a lot of moments where it's not so easy. Even when the shelves are full.
Yeah.
To walk with contentment and gratitude.
Well, I think it's really interesting is, where do we learn contentment? It's not in the seasons that are full, right?
Yeah.
In the seasons that are full, we don't have to lean into that. But I know for me, it's been the seasons where it hasn't been full. I think back of when we first moved up to North Idaho into this area, we had a job change right shortly after we moved here, which meant
the same period of time. Yeah, I was thinking
income went to nothing. And, we had 7 kids at that point. Did we have 7?
Yeah, we had 7.
7.
And that's pre-homesteading family. That's actually the season that homesteading family I ended up being born out of. But
yeah, we did not have money. We didn't have any discretionary money at all. It was one of those seasons where you're just kind of watching everybody's socks get holy and you can't replace them because you're thinking, I think it's better to pay rent and eat this month and replace socks. And it was in some of those seasons that I really had to learn to be okay with it and learn to lean into that contentment, which maybe we should even talk about like what is contentment, because I think our modern world says something like, oh, you'll be happy when you get this. Well, you'll be happy, you'll be content when everything looks the way that everybody else's Instagram feed looks, or whatever that is. But I don't think that's real contentment.
Well, and I don't think that's just the modern world. I think that's our human nature.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
driving home last night with a couple of the kids, and you were in the other. We were in two cars, and I don't know. I forget what we were talking about, but our littlest Rebecca said, why do or I don't know how she said it, but she made a comment like, whenever it's summer, we always wish it was winter, and whenever it was winter, we always wish it was summer.
That's
And
very endearing.
and so we had a conversation about the grass is always greener on the other side, and
Right.
in her terms. But I mean, that really gets to heart of it. That was 8-year-old just recognizing and working through like the reality of our human nature,
Yeah.
that we tend to always look for it to be better somewhere else. And the reality is there's always things to be thankful for, to have gratitude for. And there are always things that we're going to wish were more, that aren't quite working right, that are problems. Those are a part of life too, and they're going to happen all the time. And so this idea of contentment is not a state that we get to.
Right.
But I think we approach it kind of like an emotion,
Yeah.
And we want to just feel this thing, but kind of like love. And I was just thinking about kind of something you were saying a minute ago, and how, Jesus was talking to people about loving your neighbor, loving your enemy, and how, like, what is it to love the people that are good to you and around you? Like, of course you do. Everybody does that.
Right.
Right? What real love is loving when it's hard,
Yeah.
loving your enemy, loving somebody that does something to you that you don't like, loving each other when, you're having disagreements, whatever it is. And I think contentment falls into that category of, like, love is a choice. That's the statement, right?
Yeah.
And I think contentment is the choice. It's a choice that we learn how to make.
Yeah, I think that's said really well, because it is a decision to feel like this is enough right now to be happy with. Like, I don't have to wait to feel joy until I have all these things. I can feel joy right now because this is enough. The season that I'm in right now, what I have right now, even if it, in a physical sense isn't enough, it's enough for our soul, right? And it's enough to qualify as a good season.
Yeah.
And when we have these hard times, and we lean into that, and we really live that, making a choice that, today's a good day to be joyful. Today's a good day to be content, because what I have right now is enough. That's where we learn contentment. And looking back at that season where we had so little, and we were having to depend on our homesteading.
Well, that's the season where it went from, like, we'd been doing it for a long time, but it was ideological.
Right.
It was for specific reasons. It wasn't a have to. And that became a season. Like, I'm glad we built the skills from the ideological perspective, because it became a season like, whoa, this actually is now providing for us. It actually has to provide for us.
Yeah.
But that was really hard work. There often wasn't enough.
And we made mistakes in learning, because we still didn't know, what we know now even.
Yeah.
So there were mistakes, there were problems, there was failures where we lost, food we were depending on.
Crops. I remember we were leasing 40 acres, and I overgrazed them in a rotational grazing, and that ground was new to me.
Yeah.
And it set us back like 2 years out in the pasture.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah.
And those things happen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah.
Right. And it's that season I look back and I go, wow, I learned a lot about contentment. I also learned a lot about homesteading, but I learned a lot about contentment and just the choice to be happy.
Contentment is a choice. It's something we choose to make no matter what our circumstances are, because sometimes the pantry's full, sometimes it's not full, right? Sometimes we got a lot of challenges in life, sometimes life's flow and pretty simple, but there's always reasons not to be content. And so it's something that we choose. And so what are, how do you, like, practice that? What are some things that you do to choose contentment, to bring your
that's a good
heart
question.
back around to walking in contentment when the pull is so strong to just be focused on what's off, what's wrong, what's getting you down, where there's not enough, you know. What do you do?
I think for me, practicing gratitude is one of those
Yeah.
things that really makes a big difference on that. When I start to feel like, I think as moms, we can often lean into being discontent because it's like, oh, the season is so hard. When the kids just get to this next stage, it's gonna be better. Or when they get to the next stage after that, and then somehow, we realize we've kind of wished the kids right on into adulthood and out the house, and we haven't just been present and enjoyed each little stage that
Yeah.
everybody's at. So I think for me, slowing down and focusing on gratitude and focusing on being really thankful for the blessings of today.
Yeah.
Like what today is good, because there's a lot of things when you look at it. We get so tunnel visioned on the problem, this thing is uncomfortable, or it's not working, or it's, creating certain fears that are coming out in us in weird ways, or all these different things. And we get focused on those problems and we forget to like take a step back and be like, oh my goodness, there are so many good things happening here.
Yeah.
There's so many great things. And so for me, just having moments where I am specifically thinking through what is great right now, what is
Yeah.
good right now, and being thankful for those things. And so that's step one for me, is like taking a moment, especially if I'm like down a pity party path and like a self pity path, taking a moment, like really taking some time to think through those things. But then two, going and actually serving somebody. Those are the two things that
Yeah.
bring me back to like, no, I'm good right here. Like,
Yeah.
this is good. When you get in that discontent, your entire worldview shifts to being about you.
Yeah.
And that is never a happy place. Like, that never makes us feel good.
Yeah.
That always makes us more and more grinchy, you
Yeah.
know? It's like you just
Yeah.
keep going down the wrong path on that. And so reshifting to how thankful we are, but then going and actually doing something for somebody else that's a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable for me. Like, it's outside of my, those easy things you do that actually make you feel good when you're serving somebody else. And it's like, yeah, of course, I'm going to go call the child over and give them a hug. Like, okay, that's nice, but doing something that's a little uncomfortable,
Yeah.
taking somebody's chore and being like, you know what, I'm just going to do your chore that I really don't like and you don't like and nobody likes today, and just doing that for you.
Yeah.
Those two things kind of really help recently. Do you have any? What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. I think practicing thankfulness, definitely. We've got the sign on the wall that there's always, 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 always something to be thankful for. And of course there's lots of scripture that calls us to gratitude and thankfulness. So I think that's a big one for me, just remembering to practice to look around and find the things that I'm thankful for. But, for me, where I really get off is not so much the stuff. Is there enough? I mean, I grew up, as you know, very poor. We didn't have a lot. And so I'm pretty comfortable if the homesteading's working, not working, the shelves are full. I mean, it's always nice to have this, but those aren't things that weigh on me. I think the things that weigh on me are the life situational things, and the overwhelm of, kids, a big property, two businesses, and all the people. I grew up alone. I was a latchkey kid. And so I find myself overwhelmed with situations. That's where I become uncontent and wishing this could just wish this would be different and wish it would be better. And one of the things that I've found, this is my own personal thing, is I started looking somewhere like back in there, I think it was even before that a little bit, I started thinking about somebody like the president of the United States. And don't get hung up on who's the president right now. I'm talking about the role of the president of the United States. As we had a growing family, a growing homestead, growing businesses, and I'm this guy that was this kid that was poor and spent a lot of time alone, and life feels overwhelming. And I'm like, how do you handle all this? And I would just think of the president and I think about the decisions that guy's got to make.
Yeah.
I think about, the responsibility he has, the weight, the complexity.
Oh, the amount of people
the
around
amount of people,
all the
because that's what
time.
I struggle with sometimes, is just the amount of people between
Yeah.
family, home, businesses, church, And so for me, that's an area when I think about somebody else's life like that, and I think I could find lots of people. It was just somewhere, it was like I got to thinking of the president years ago, I don't know, Bush or somebody, and like, whoa, that guy, like, and that brought context for me to look at my life, to come back around, and then to kind of, that helped me circle back around to kind of the thankfulness for the people and the situations, even if they were hard, that I was in, by recognizing that this is just my reality. It's okay. There's a lot of good in it. And so I guess it's that recognizing other people have it harder than I do. And so there's always something to be thankful for. I don't really have it that bad. And I'm just stuck in my own pity party relating to these situations. And I think there's a lot of ways to do that. That's the one that comes to mind is looking at that, because I've studied the presidents and read about them and whatnot. So I think that's really helpful to bring me back and go, you know what, my life's pretty darn good. It's actually not that complex and that big and overwhelming.
I had somebody tell me one time a saying that their grandma used to say, and it was that nothing's ever so bad that it couldn't get worse.
No, man.
And it's like, it's kind of a negative saying, but at the same time, when you get down to where you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
When you think that, you're like, oh yeah, it could get worse. This isn't that bad.
Yeah.
We'll just be okay with it the way it is right now. Like,
Yeah.
because it could get worse. It could get worse.
And when you start to all of us have, hard times, bad times. And I can definitely speak to very bad times and very poor and very scary times in life. We're in a good place in life right now.
Yeah.
And we're pretty secure, and the pantry's full and the kids are healthy and we're doing well. But no matter where you're at, there's always challenges. Yeah. But there is always things to be thankful for. And I think that's really the heart of it, at least that both of us are drawing out. We have our own way of finding that. But we can find, and not just things, people.
Yeah.
Specific things even in people.
Yeah.
Sometimes lack of contentment for me can come in like my frustrations with a person, and you start to see the negative in that person.
Yeah. Well, that can happen easily in a marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
For one.
Yeah.
But
and so
other
you start
people
dwelling.
too.
So you're no longer content in this relationship, and you start dwelling on the things that are wrong. Well, there's always going to be things wrong in a close relationship. We're two people. We're individual sinners, and with individual wills. So we can choose to focus on those things, or we can flip that around and choose to focus on the positive, on the good things, what's beautiful about that person, what's uplifting about that person or encouraging.
Yeah.
And that can bring us back to contentment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thought. I like all of those. I would love to hear from you guys too. Like, what are the things that you do or you think about yourself when you're starting to slip into discontent? Like, how do you readjust that attitude? What are the things that you find help? Like, that would be good to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
And it would encourage
let's
each
encourage
other.
each other right here as we go into Thanksgiving to realize no matter what our situations are, what do we have to be thankful for that can bring that contentment?
So I do want to touch on really quickly, because as homesteaders, I think one of the hallmarks of the homesteading movement, if you will, right now, is that we all kind of have this sense of urgency, this sense that we want more, the sense that we wish that, we had more pantry shelves that were more full 2 years ago. And so there's kind of this drive.
Absolutely.
How do we balance a drive for more or for better with this idea of contentment? I have a few thoughts. Do you have any?
I think there's an acceptance for me of reality, because I'm definitely that way. There's always more to do. There's always the next pasture to improve. There's always, I want the sheep to be a little bigger this year. I mean, I can just start rattling off a list, and there are much more urgent things. And especially if you're new in this journey, and you're trying to get there and get a little bit more food on the pantry, a little more food security, or a little more healthy food programs, or whatever it is for you, it's really easy to get hung up on that. What what you don't have and don't want.
My thought is the difference between the two is contentment says, today I can be joyful with what I have. Wanting more doesn't need to interrupt that. It can be, this like, Yeah, and I hope that next week or next year, whatever it is, we can add these additional skills and I'm practicing new stuff, but it doesn't take away from the joy that you can have today because today is good enough.
Well, and I think what I was getting at is the realization that while there's good to want to get some more food security in place to get your household healthier, again, whatever the things are, it's so easy to get trapped again in the what nots. And so it's that choice, right? To realize that. And what for me, I realize is like, all my like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Does it change anything?
No.
It doesn't change a single
Doesn't
thing except
actually
for
make
how
you
you
faster.
feel. And it actually wears you out and
Yeah.
wears you down.
Yeah.
And then you end up wearing other people out and down. And it doesn't change anything. And so it's great. I think emotions are great motivators, right? But a lot of emotion can be not great to act in. And so for me, it's realizing like, you know what, I'm feeling this way. It's not doing me any good. It's not helping me. What I want to get to is a good thing.
Yeah.
But walking in this state is not actually helping me get there. And actually, it's probably setting me back from getting there because it's sapping my energy. It's sapping my mental attitude, which drags you down, makes you tired, makes you stressed. And so I think realizing that helps me to pivot and go, oh, okay, all right. I know where I want to go, but I've actually got a lot good happening right here. And let's make a plan and figure out where to go.
Right. That's good. That's good. So you can balance. So you can have both of those things. You can be content and want more at the same time. They're actually almost two different things. Like the wanting more is more of I want to do better. I want to fill more of the shelves. I want to eat better. I want to, be more resilient or all those things. But that is not speaking to your joy and your happiness in the moment with what you already have. It's okay to want to push into new areas. Yeah. It's also okay to recognize when you have seasons where you just go, I can't do more without sacrificing my joy in this season. And that's something that I've had to learn is that when you overfill your schedule, you and I are so bad at this. This is like...
Actually, we're really good at it, overfilling our schedule.
We are very good at overfilling our schedule. But like there becomes this point where it's really hard to have joy when you're just racing from one thing to the next and you're always feeling pressure. So it's okay from a place of contentment to go, you know what, because today's good enough, it'll be good enough for tomorrow too. And I don't need to push into more. So both of those things are okay. And I think it depends on where you're at.
I think that's really good. I think we can... all this is centering around making a choice, right? Yeah. Because like you said, we're really good at overfilling our schedule. Well, that's a choice we make. That choice leads to feeling run over and a lot of other things that leads to feeling discontent and not having contentment. And so while we can find contentment in those moments, we can also make choices at times that don't put us into such pressurized situations that then encourage discontent or a lack of gratitude. And so there's some practical choices as well, just in life management. And we're trying to figure it out as much as anybody else. It's all a good conversation.
We have this one word that we're really bad at saying, and it's no. We're not good at that. That doesn't work well between the two of us sometimes.
Yeah, especially when it comes to homesteading activities or
kids,
or probably anything, I guess.
Yeah, just about all of it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, what's encouraging to me in this conversation is that we actually have a lot of control. We have a lot of choice. We can choose to walk in contentment. Yes, there are things, and all of you listening are in a variety of places in life. We've been there, and it's easy to say, yeah, well, my situation's so bad. I'm so down. And that's true. There are times when it's down, it's hard, really it's bad, but we still have a choice. And just coming around to our faith, I know we're about out of time here, but that's what our Christian faith teaches us. That's what Christ teaches us, is to dwell in thankfulness and on those good things that we have, and they carry us through these other moments that are hard.
That's well said. Well, happy Thanksgiving for you guys. That's coming up next week, I think, when you're watching this. And have a wonderful time with a lot of contentment. It's okay to say no to a few things if you need to be able to stay joyful and, spend the time counting the blessings. I know that's what we'll be working on doing.
take some time around the family table or friends and take some time to go around and practice this. Everybody take a moment to share with each other what you're thankful for or what you're content in.
Yeah.
And we hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Goodbye.
See you soon.